What's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about changing your power steering fluid in your car. This is not a full flush, this is just going to be a partial exchange, and all you'll need to do that are the tools you see here. You'll need the power steering fluid to go in. Just make sure that's compatible with your car. We'll need some paper towels just in case we make a mess. You don't want to be getting that stuff anywhere on your engine and anywhere else. We'll need a empty canister. This can be anything you've got lying around in the house to drain the old liquid into, and we'll need some sort of a siphon. Now, I've got this one here. It's got a little valve in there, so we can just put that in the reservoir. Got that on Amazon for about $2.75, but you can use a turkey baster as well. Lots of people use a turkey baster. I like this one because when the liquid starts flowing, it just kind of keeps going, and I find it to be cleaner. But you can use whatever you like as a siphon. So that's what you need equipment-wise, so let's go to the car and check it out. Alright, first things first, you gotta go find your power steering pump. On this car, it's right here, so you can open that up, and there'll be a little lip there, and you can see it gives me a fluid level. It's kind of low, but that doesn't matter, we're gonna change that out anyway. So locate the power steering pump in your car first, and then we'll start attaching it. So I've got my siphon pump here. You want to figure out what the sucking end is of that pump. In this case, I know it's this end right there. So we're gonna get that into our reservoir, like so. I don't have to really attach it any better. It sits in there nice and snug. Just make sure it doesn't shoot out or anything. You don't want to make a mess. And then, of course, we go to our canister, which I've prepared down here. Insert the top part, and now start pumping. Needs a couple of pumps. You can see it there. Steering liquid is starting to come up. You want to make sure your reservoir is actually lower than your actual feed. So it's coming up right here. So what happens is that once you have enough pressure and the liquid is actually flowing, it will just flow into our reservoir. Here it comes. There you go. And now we drain the first batch. You can see the liquid here is actually pretty black, which means it's old. Yeah, so it's about time we changed this. There's 180,000 kilometers on this car. I don't actually know when the liquid has been changed the last time. So, good thing we're doing this. So we got a good bit out of the car already. But that's of course not all that's in your reservoir. You need to actually crank the steering pump to give you more liquid in the reservoir. So this is the first batch. So what we're going to do, we're going to fire up the engine, and we're going to actually turn the steering wheel from lock to lock to fill up that reservoir. So it kind of helps if your car is off the ground for this one. You can lift it off with a jack stand or something like that. But I don't have one available here, so we're just going to do this the old school way. I'm going to turn the engine on. If you have a stick shift, make sure that's in neutral. Crank the engine. There you go. And just turn the steering, right? Here's some music. Doing this with one hand, guys, so bear with me. Just go from lock to lock right there. There you go, you heard the steering pump whining and moaning. That's exactly what we want. To the other side. And there we go, locked. That's it, engine off. So you'll see here I've reattached the hose. There's more gunky stuff coming out. So this will go into the bottle right there again. So let me just pump this out and I'll show you how that looks like. But this is old, icky stuff, so this really needs to go. So we've got some more of the old stuff out here. I've got nothing else coming out of the reservoir anymore. So this is pretty much empty again. So what we're going to do, we're going to fill this up. We're going to, again, pump the wheel a bit, get this going to help the system flush out, and then we're going to repeat this process. You can do this 2 or 3 times. The more you do it, the cleaner your liquid gets. Just make sure that you have enough steering fluid to go in here. You don't want the pump to be running dry at any point because that can damage the pump, and that'll be a quite expensive repair. So let's not do that. Let's get some oil in here. So here we are. I'm going to top this up initially. You should really be using a funnel for this, not to be making a mess. But I'm actually not too bad with this kind of stuff, so I don't use a funnel for this. You just want to top it up until it's kind of full. We're going to put in more than the max mark. Oh, there you go, I'm making a mess. So I'm just going to go and grab my paper towels and clean that up, because you don't want that to be contaminating your engine at all. So some towels, and just go clean that up right there. Yeah, so there you see the whole lecture about using a funnel. Just use the funnel, don't be like me. Alright, there we go. I'm just going to top this up, and what we'll do then, we'll start up the engine again and rev, because what will happen, the pump will draw down the new liquid into the pump, mix it up with the old and fill this reservoir, and then we'll start pumping it out again. Alright, there we go, that's filled up. We'll just check the level. You can tell that's way too full, so let's start up the car and draw down the liquid. So here we go, we started the car again. We're going to just give the steering a good turn from one lock to the other lock, because the reservoir is now full, but we have air in the system. So getting the pump working is going to mix the air out and going to get some of the old fluid mixed up. So let's do that, and after that maybe take it for a ride for a couple of minutes and see how we do. So look at this, guys, we're already seeing some results here. So I just topped up the reservoir, and you can now see you can actually turn this stationary with one hand already. This is so much easier than it was before. You know, this is really feeling good. So I'm just mixing this up again. Then we're going to siphon off some more, fill her up, take her for a drive, and then we're good. Okay, here we go, guys. She's hooked up and good to go, and you can see the fluid here is already getting a little bit clearer. So this is better quality fluid already, so that's great. Alright, the reservoir is starting to reach empty again. I'm just going to put the camera here so you guys can hear what that sounds like. It's a pretty distinctive sound. It sounds like you're slurping a soft drink or something. Yeah, time for a refill, guys. That's really starting to look pretty nasty here, guys. Actually, funny enough, it looks like Coke, but not drinking that, guys. Don't drink that. Not good for you. Okay, cool. It's time to fill up the rest of the liquid in here again. We're gonna just pour it in, just right there. This liquid is reddish in color, reddish pink. So the stuff that's coming out should be reddish pink as well. If you got that kind of color and consistency, then you've done a pretty good fluid swap. Keep in mind, this is not a real flush. If you want to flush the system, you gotta disconnect the feed and return lines and actually flush that out entirely. It's a bit more work than doing this, so I like doing it this way, which is a lot easier and less time consuming for me. Alright, let's fill her up and get her started. Alright guys, so it's time to take the car for a drive. We got some fluid left in here. We're going to take this with us, because we'll probably draw down some more fluid into the steering pump as we go along. Do not throw this away. I like to dispose of the old fluids right back into here right at the end. It's a good container, so you can get rid of that yourself. But now, it's time to drive. Alright, that's it guys. We just took her for a ride around the block. I'm going to park this up, and then it's time for us to check the levels again. So let's see how that worked out. Guys, so here we are again. We just came back from a drive, using the car a bit, trying to draw down some liquid into the system, getting air out. So let's check the levels right now. So just put that in, lock it, and remove. And you can see that we're actually topped up too high. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to actually suck a little bit of this out, and then we'll try to get it to the level that's good, and then actually we are done. Alright guys, look at this. We kind of got a bit more of the fluid out, and you can see it right there. We're nicely on the upside of the cold mark, which I'm happy with. So we're gonna leave that right there. We're just gonna give this a quick clean down, because I did make a mess earlier. Just make sure you get all the parts. The way I did this, you can actually also do your brake fluids the same way. It's not as good as a flush, but better than nothing. And I'll be doing my oil filters as well, and an oil change, so stay tuned for that one. But before I let you guys go, like I said, what we want to do, we want to come over here to our gunky stuff and just put that into a canister that we can dispose of later. So I'm gonna just pour this in here like so. And well, hope you guys enjoyed this cocktail making class right there. Like my content, subscribe to the channel, share the content, or if you have any comments, I'd love to hear from you. Alright, thanks for viewing and goodbye.